For daily quests that require you win 2 games with a deck of 2 specific colors, like a red-blue deck, for example, if you have any cards in your deck that are not one of those colors, in this case we're saying blue or red, then it won't be able to be used to do that quest. This includes cards in your sideboard, so in this case, we're just adding a white card to our sideboard, and if we save it this way and then play a game with it, it won't work for doing a win 2 games with a blue-red deck. So now we're just going to take that card back out of the sideboard, and then we'll move on to the next thing. If you have a mono-white deck, for example, and you have a quest that says win 2 games with a blue-white deck, you can satisfy the requirements of this quest by putting a blue card in your sideboard, as I'm doing here. So this means you can do any of the decks that require white using a mono-white deck just by putting a single card of the other color in your sideboard. Some people really like playing their mono-white or mono-red aggro decks, and this can help do those quests without having to use the precons or monkey around with creating quest-specific decks and things like that. Now we're going to look into importing a deck into Magic Arena. In order to do this, you want to get it on your clipboard. So I'm going to go over to a deck site, specifically etherhub.com. At Etherhub, I'll search for decks in the Magic Arena format. I will select the blue-black control post-wipe deck here, and then I will select export to MTG Arena under the wrench icon. After that, I'll click import to MTGA, and that will put the deck list on my clipboard. And then back in Magic Arena, I can select import deck. It will import it. I can go and look at it. It'll show which cards I don't have in my collection that I might need to craft or whatever. And that's about it. Easy peasy. The last one we're going to look at is a card that a lot of new players seem to have problems playing correctly in Magic Arena. It's Nezahal, Primal Tide, and he has 3 main abilities that might be misplayed. One is that he can't be countered. The next one is that whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you draw a card. And the last one is you can discard 3 cards to exile it and return to the battlefield tapped under your control at the end step. The first thing is Ixalan's Binding. If an opponent plays Ixalan's Binding, wait for Ixalan's Binding to target Nezahal before you bounce it, otherwise they're going to just target something else. You got to do it while the trigger is on the stack. The next one is if you want to counter Nezahal Primal Tide with Essence Scatter, you won't be able to, but Essence Scatter can still target Nezahal, you'll just lose Essence Scatter. Now, Mind Rot. If someone casts a Mind Rot against you, wait until you draw the card from Nezahal before you bounce it, so you can decide what to discard. You might get something good. Now, for attacks, don't click Nezahal when the combat button is lit up. Instead, click it when the attacker button is lit up. Otherwise, you're going to just activate the third ability.